Hello, how have you been? Yeah? Ah, good. So, we're back again with some fun and games. I know people are getting very, very excited about the stuff that we're doing. Gosh, I get letters. Even on days where there are mail strikes, I get letters about, the enjoyment. And people say to me, isn't that a bit old-fashioned? Why don't they just DM you? And I don't know. Maybe they're very special people. So count yourself lucky. Those who have been watching for a while may remember an edition where we took on a talking heads style. You were at that. A bit like the kind Alan Bennett does. It was really popular with us, and so I wanted to do it again. Now, Alan's work tends to be old people moaning about aches and pains and mundane things that happen to them. In this middle-aged version, I am definitely going to keep the mundanity, but the subjects will still have things to do in their lives to keep them interested. Plus, we're approaching more age-appropriate subjects for our actors. Discuss playing wrong ages. So this one's a bit personal. I did GCSE drama, obviously when I was that age. I got a C in GCSE drama, and you would say that's impossible. How? How did that happen? What was wrong with the marking system? I imagine there were many things wrong with the marking system. After all, what are your credentials if you are going about secondary schools in June time to mark people for their drama? What are your credentials? We never found out. There were 3 of them. But where it really went wrong was the fact that aged 16, I was playing a 65-year-old. Immediately, hard to believe. No matter how good I had been, I feel I was at a disadvantage by the fact that they had made me play somebody who was 50 years older than I was. Unfair?
I mean, I guess some of the great roles are of an advanced age. You know, if you're lucky enough to play King Lear for GCSE, you'd probably take it. But it is a challenge, right? Yeah, quite a lot to ask of someone.
I think a challenge that probably we didn't need. I mean, when you're really like, hey, let's just bag this A or A star in drama. Let's, path of least resistance. Maybe, Mr. Teacher, we should make it about teenagers, just so we're not really reaching too far.
Yeah.
Did you have access to talcum powder?
I always try to. I mean, even in those days, yeah. I did. How is that relevant?
I suppose it's one of the tools that generally we use in the profession to age ourselves.
Yeah.
Sorry, just got that. Okay, yeah.
You can add up to 30 years.
That wouldn't have been enough.
Wouldn't have been enough. Did you have hair then?
Just.
Cause
it was hanging on.
Yeah. But I do think that that no age comes with barriers. I think the performance probably was a C, unless
I wasn't happy with it, but I did the best I could in the situation I was given.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't stomp around and huff about the thing.
Yeah.
Partly because I didn't get the grade until 3 months later.
Was there anyone who was in their 60s in your year taking the GCSEs?
No, but the teacher was about that age. So I think he was kind of doing it for himself. And just going, I wish I was in this play. I know Little Meat Puppets. I'll make you do it. I've always wanted to see this performed by teenagers.
There's an ego trip there.
Yeah, I think
For the teacher.
there was something going on.
Mm.
I did my best. I did a kind of loud, angry scene, and I thought, well, if nothing else, they'll feel the passion.
It's a good fallback, I think. If in doubt.
Passion.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why. You know, it wasn't. I won't pretend it was a brilliant performance. You know, I won't go and say, "Oh, I nailed it," because, you know, I'm fallible sometimes. More so then than now. But more to the point, I mean, if there was a role for a 65-year-old up for grabs now, I feel that neither of you would be cast. You know, I don't think that's casting aspersions on your ability. I think they would rather find somebody in that age group, if they possibly could.
Yeah, I think you're always restricted by your pool. So I mean, the pool of people that they were casting from when you were in your GCSEs was just your class. But I suppose if it was a professional production, they'd be looking. The pool would be, cup would be overflowing.
Yeah. Well, you can fit a lot more into a pool than a cup.
But I think if it was in this room, you know, who would play the oldest character?
Yeah.
Well, probably me then. But I'm not 16 now. So it would make more sense now. Right. So let's do these. Yeah, are you ready?
Yeah.
Because we've already discussed roles, and you'll see why. Well, you might not. You might not see why. We've already discussed roles off camera, and we're just going to go straight into it. But if you don't see why, I'm not going to explain it. If you do see why, you'll know why, and that's how we'll partition you. Okay? So you'll either be a person who sees why we've done it, or you'll be a person who doesn't see why we've done it. If you're a person who doesn't, then Godspeed. We'll kick off with Elizabeth Thrower. She's 42, has a divorce under her belt from her 20s, so a bit distant, and just wants to have fun. No kids, well-paid job in telling people what to do, possibly in mid-market fashion for a high street brand. And when I say possibly, I mean definitely.
Oh, the weekend again. They're not what they used to be. I haven't seen the girls in ages. And Laura's getting divorced. And Alice got divorced last year. 10 or more years back. Gosh, maybe 15. I'd go to a wedding nearly every weekend in the summer. You begin to resent it. But then they dry up. How many of those people are still together? How many have I talked to since? I got married in 2004 to Graham, and I divorced him in 2007. I only married the man because that's what you did when you came from a sleepy town. But that's not me. He married someone else. 3 kids. That's what he wanted. But I never wanted that. You see them, and you bloody hear them everywhere you go. I don't think people have it in them anymore to parent properly. If I'd have been that noisy around strangers when I was a girl, I'd have had my pants pulled down. It's not on. You should see the kids coming out of university now that work for me. My God! It takes 4 of them to make the coffee, and they're so in tune with their feelings. Usually they feel like they don't want to do any work and they go home early. England is screwed. And that's why I go to the gym 4 times a week. I can't be decrepit around these people in 40 years. They'd leave me for dead.
Sips red wine from her glass and looks out of window. James Silversmith is 49 and happily married, but his teenage children are beginning to worry him, and he fears for their futures. He also fears a little for his own, as a succession of poor financial decisions mean that his liabilities are stacked high. He hasn't told his wife Susan, however, and he probably should.
£350 for shoes? When is she going to wear them? I'm not being unreasonable, am I? She said she needed shoes. I said fine. I was a little worried this might happen, but I thought 100 quid, maybe 150. 350! I love her, but she can be a bit clueless. I've tried dropping hints, cut back on a little of my own stuff. Whenever I do the food shopping, she complains about me being tight-fisted and asks where her favourite things are. And I'm like, we're running out of money, Susan. Except I'm not like that. I just shrug and smile. She wouldn't leave me, I'm sure of that. We really do get on well. 23 years together. It's no accident. I do love her. Then there's the kids. Thank God we had a third. Hazel is looking at university options. I'm always reminding her about the debt she'll take on. Don't bother Hazel, I'd like to say, but she's set on it. A sweet girl, but her head is firmly in the clouds. Thinks it'll be some kind of social club, more expensive to join than any I can think of. Then there's James Jr. I need the latest phone, Dad. It's only £1,000. I'd love to remind him that his current one works fine. He's only had it for 9 months, and it's also £1,000. But he wouldn't listen even if I did. It's the only time we talk about anything, on his phone and in his room. And the only sound comes out of there are gunfire on his computer. I sometimes wonder if I should tell the police to put him on a watch list. But they won't do anything before he does.
Yeah. So, James, to me, which is really kind of really all that matters. Oh yeah, you're watching. Yeah, I know. Fine. To me, seems very kind of desperate and very frustrated.
Yeah.
With life. One of the things I did when I was writing this was I made sure to put all of the things he'd like to say to people, but he never actually says them, and he almost kind of freely admits that to himself. I should. Don't do this. I should say, but I don't. And this is making him very put upon. I don't think my wife would leave me. She wouldn't leave me. She would, we're in love. She wouldn't leave me. But Susan, we've never heard Susan speak, but she spent 350 quid on shoes. Now, some people do that, and I don't get into the state of their finances and what she believes them to be, but I'm not sure she's being entirely helpful. Doesn't seem happy, does it?
It's a lot of resentment, I think, because I think if he's spending a lot of his time sort of having these kind of very weak connections with his family and like his son and his daughter and his wife, I think he builds this stuff up and he never lets it go. He never sort of expresses it.
Yeah, it's kind of cowardly bravado, isn't it? Like he has these opinions that everyone's doing it wrong and he could do it better, but he never has the guts to actually say them, including telling his wife that he loves her. He's admitting to the camera, I do love her, as if to say I've never said it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't consider that. Yes, he may never have done that. I love her, but she can be a bit clueless. He certainly never said, you can be a bit clueless.
Yeah.
He'd never, you can be a bit clueless. No, he wouldn't do that.
I don't think he likes his kids.
No.
And I think he is yet to realise that the reason they're probably unlikable people is because that he is the role model for their children.
Yeah, he's probably as bad as they are with money, and
Yeah.
that's the thing. The things that annoy us most about other people are the stuff we see in ourselves.
He could almost be Elizabeth if she'd had kids. The way that he is with the kids he's had strikes me as somebody who wishes he'd never had them. His relationship with his son, all they ever do is talk about a new phone that's expensive, or he hears gunfire coming out of his room. But they won't do anything before he does. How, is he joking?
I mean, as soon as I said that line, I realised I'd delivered it wrong. Should have been, but they won't do anything before he does, as opposed to they won't do anything before he does. That doesn't. My reading didn't make any sense. I think is that speaks to like, that was an odd line. It sounds as though he actually expects him to be on a watch list one day, whereas I kind of feel like if your kid's playing video games the whole time, most parents make that joke. Right? If they're playing Grand Theft Auto or Call of Duty the whole time, be like, put them on the watch list. But it feels like he actually thinks that.
Yeah, but he won't do anything. They won't do anything
before he does. So he's waiting for his son to...
They wouldn't listen to me.
Yeah.
They wouldn't... it's a joke. It's a joke until that bit. Because that's like, oh, ha ha ha. But they wouldn't... Like, he's practically thought it through.
Yeah.
Like, but if I did call them and say, I think you should put my son on the watch list, they'd be like, we're busy. And then when he does start, taking it out on the general public, he'll go, I told you.
Yeah.
And they'll go, well, to be fair, sir, we couldn't do anything until he discharged the firearm. They would say it like that too.
Yeah.
That's how they'd say it to the news. This boy, his father had been worried about him for a long time. He should have been on a police watch list. Superintendent, could you tell me why you didn't do that? Well, 3 years ago, when the father made the phone call to place his son on a watch list, he hadn't done anything. And we cannot take any measures until he's discharged the firearm. That's how they work.
Oh, really? Or what if Bertrand Russell was playing the
Bertrand Cleese.
Bertrand Cleese.
He discharged the firearm. That's very accurate. If people look, I've watched Bertrand Russell clips on YouTube. I know that they're there, and I tell you what, I nail that. I'm going to do the last one. So does somebody want to count me in? This will be an interesting dynamic. Does somebody want to read the Tony Treacle bit and then I'm Tony? Because it's a bit weird me reading the bit and then being Tony.
I'll do it.
I can do it, but I'd need a gap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Tony Treacle runs a pub in a gentrifying part of East London. He's 51 and started going to pubs underage in the mid-80s. Things were different then, and like many his age, he has a rose-tinted view of the past, a grey-tinted view of the present, and I guess black-tinted view of the future, which is basically like wearing common sunglasses, but he certainly doesn't feel cool about it. If anything, he's angry.
Bring back the boozer. That's what I say. I had some twat come in yesterday asking for crisps made out of carrots. Crisps are made out of potatoes, mate. Sometimes corn, but I ain't fully reconciled to that yet. I said, no, what do you think this is? He didn't have an answer. It's East London, mate. We've got Walker's crisps, ready salted, salt and vinegar, cheese and onion. I might even have a prawn cocktail somewhere, pink bag, maybe you'd like that. Guess he wasn't hungry all of a sudden. Ordered a half pint, drank up and left. Twats. The brewery are trying to get us to stock all this fruity beer in cans. I ain't putting it on tap. No one around here wants it. I tried to just buy 10 cans off them, see if I could give it away. Minimum order 200. Well, how about this? Minimum order fucking 0. Bloke's an idiot. He's called Crispin. What a name. I mean, what kind of people call their boy Crispin? He's trying to get me to stop bullshit crisps as well. Oh, you'd like to advise me on crisps, Crispin? Are you a crisp expert, Crispin? You do sound like one. He laughed at that, but he didn't find it funny. I could tell. Twat. Yeah.
Nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him.
Very familiar character.
Friendly.
Yeah,
Noisy.
he
Personable.
met people like that.
Yeah. Hungry.
Hungry for certain things. I did make the point to mention the corn crisps because I was thinking about that. Crisps are made out of potatoes, mate. Yeah. Sometimes corn, but I ain't fully reconciled to that yet.
He's a man who won't begrudge a nacho.
Right. Doritos, yeah, came out in this country, I would think about 30 years ago. I can remember the adverts. Tony's 51, so he would have been in his early 20s. So that's just about long enough for him to accept.
Are they the OG corn crisps? Are they sort of thing? Are they?
I don't remember anything before then. It was all potatoes before
like
that.
salt and vinegar sticks,
That was
The
potato,
French
wasn't
fries.
it?
French fries, and
Yeah.
But they're still are they a corn snack or a potato snack?
the sticks are corn.
Are they?
Cornstarch, yeah.
Really? Oh, cornstarch.
Maize, is that corn?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
You know those chipstick?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are
they're
they?
an old
They're-
school one.
They're not older
maize.
than Doritos. Well, there's another reason why he might be reconciled to it, or I'm fully reconciled to it, but he's begrudgingly.
It's not a pub. Yeah, I suppose it might be a pub crisp.
What are skips made out of? Because that
Mate,
doesn't feel
that's-
like a...
That's maize, I think, as well.
Right? Because
Is
it doesn't feel like a potato would melt on the tongue like that. Or a quaver.
I don't think Tony would like skips.
No.
A bit fruity.
Nah.
Well, prawn cocktail.
Oh, he likes prawn cocktail crisps. Where else
Well,
the flavour? But then again, he has a bit of scorn for the pink
stock
bag.
them. Yeah, he's. I don't know. You see, well, I wrote it, so I guess I decide. But that was a bit like, I don't actually have a prawn cocktail, but you might like them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I was quite scared of you, to be honest,
Mm.
Andrew. You were quite intimidating.
Yeah.
That's acting. Yeah. You got to inhabit Tony Treacle.
But I didn't think you had it in you.
What, to be intimidating?
Yeah.
Well, it's, I think you've got to have, and this is a lesson to everybody really. I think you've got to, aspiring writers, because I know they're watching. You have to live a life. You have to go outside, and you have to live a life before you can write about things. If you've not lived a life, and it's not ageism, but let's be honest, you'd be better writing age 50 than you would age 15. I think that's a given. So if you've lived a life, then you're all the better for it. I've met Tony Treacles, and I was wise in the moment to ask for snacks that I expected him to have. And my life experience was good enough that my anticipation of the kind of snacks he would have, even if I couldn't see them, was correct. I would go into a pub run by a Tony Treacle, and I would go, not sure I belong here, but he'll have pork scratchings. He will. And that's how you get from here to there, So, interesting character, maybe too angry to really to do lots with, because, it's fun in the moment, but
He's
how
a
many
cameo,
levels?
isn't he? He's
Yeah.
With Talking Heads, it works quite well.
Mm.
Do you know what would have been really lovely if there was just, I think somewhere in there, just the glimmer of something soft, something, just a small moment, just a light, something he was in love with.
So rather than like a barking cockney, you have like a little bit of Michael Caine, like a little bit of like minimum order 200, or a Phil Mitchell minimum order 200.
I'll try to soften it. I'll try to just buy 10 cans off them. See if I could give it away. Minimum order 200. Well, how about this? Minimum order fucking 0. Yeah, because if you... Yeah? Do you know what I mean? He's less angry there. Is that... He doesn't love anything there. But he doesn't... So what he's doing there is he's turning it into a joke.
I dig the aggression. I think you can go full Guy Ritchie with this. Go Bricktop, you know? Full like, minimum order 200. Well, how about this? Minimum order fucking 0. You know?
What, you want me to do it again?
Yeah, sure.
I'd be quite scared actually if you did it again.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well we don't want to frighten Josh.
No.
Yeah.
And I've got to think of the viewers as well, because there's a lot to take in. We've already partitioned them into like people who know and people who don't know. People who don't know can't do anything for. People who do know, you know, I think they'll go, that's enough. That's maybe too much power.
Yeah, don't intimidate.
If this was to continue in any way, if he was to carry on talking, I would love to hear him talk about his rose-tinted view of the past, and like for him to talk about like how he views that, like back in the 80s when I used to go to a pub.
Yeah.
And they used to have this one pack of crisps that I used to love as a boy.
Yeah.
We used to open it up, put it in the middle of the table. We'd all have all salt around the mouth. Oh, it was great, it was. Yeah. But he's fucking crisping, fuck himself.
Yeah. No, you're
just
right.
That glimmer of like,
that, it's true because actually
there was some kindness in him once.
He's angry for a reason. It's because something he liked isn't there anymore. So you're going to show that compassion and then subvert it.
Well, he would probably bring up, because what he doesn't like are the people that are in his pub now. And there may have been a time when, even if before it was his pub, but maybe when he just started at, you know, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, aged 28, when he liked the people who were in the pub. He was like, oh yeah, this guy's funny, this guy's falling over, this guy, oh, he's all right. But now it's people who want carrot crisps. He's not happy about the gentrification. That's apparent. He's not happy with the direction that the brewery are taking.
People don't want to get drunk anymore.
Yeah, so he's not making enough money. Very difficult in these times. All of these people have a resentment towards others, and it could be people that they know well, or it could be people that they don't know very well. But they're all unhappy with where they've ended up, and they're behaving like it's someone else's fault. And that, in a nutshell, is classic middle age. So I hope you enjoyed that. Even those of you who in the doesn't camp, maybe you learned something, and maybe you can see a way that you will go into the does. Whatever happens, remember that the things that happen to you are usually your fault, if you take anything away from this. Bye.